Hello. It's Wednesday and the sun is shining. Tank top in the tunnel. It's beautiful. So we're taking advantage of that. Today's February 8th. That's great. So I'm doing potting soil today, and we had talked about that earlier. And you know, we had that fancy schmancy potting bench over here. Remember, I've got a wheelbarrow, a shovel, and I have a bucket. So I'm going to tell you my formula that I learned from a friend of mine. He was Joe Rowland from Rowland Family Farms. We met at the Lomax Incubator Farm. I believe he's back there now, helping teach and run things over there, which is, it's good. It's a good thing. So it's warm. But I'm going to give you my ingredients and a quick little formula if you want to make your own potting soil. And so in the beginning, that's actually been cheaper for me and more cost effective, because some of the potting mixes are a little pricier, but this year we are starting to think about it may be a good thing to change, because grabbing the bales of 3 cubic feet can weigh 50 to 60 pounds minimum. If they've gotten wet, they're going to be heavier. And you know, I'm 62. I don't want to be dragging stuff. So we'll think about that. It comes in a big sling, and we don't have a tractor yet to pull a sling of potting soil off of the back of our truck, but we may ask the neighbors to help us out. But in the meantime, I've gone to what I've done for the last 3.5 years, and I'm gonna see if I can turn this around, and if not, I don't see that I can. Someone can teach me how to do that. Let's see, does that come back? Nope. All right, we're gonna turn it around. Give me a minute. Okay, we're back. So you don't want to look at me anyways. So I'm starting to sweat in here. So my ingredients, I use peat moss. And I'll be honest, some people don't like peat moss because it's not a sustainable way of going. But for now, what I have to look for, folks, is the OMRI label. We'll talk about certified naturally grown, but I follow organic standards. So every one of my ingredients have to have this label. And that's, we'll go back through. Here's another OMRI. There's another OMRI, and even on my fertilizer. That's not very good in here. It's really kind of shady. That's a Harmony 543. So the peat moss, the bales have doubled in price this year. I just paid $25 for that bale. But out of that bale, I can get three wheelbarrows full. And I have calculated that out throughout the years. I can get 15 of my 10 flats. I just got 12 of my 8 count flats, and when I'm doing seedlings I can get a lot more, because I'm doing a 72 or a 125 or a 105 tray. So the first ingredient in my potting soil is 2 buckets. We all have a 5-gallon bucket. It's so and you have a shovel. So 2 buckets of my peat moss, 1 bucket of perlite. That gives us lightness in there, air porosity, so the roots can grow. 1 bucket, actually it works out to about a half a bag of my compost here. I have used exclusively the lobster compost until this year, and I'll show you in a second. Jim went and picked up, we found a local source who had an organic certified compost, which we have never seen in the past. So it was 45 minutes away, and we got a lot more compost for our money. Costa Maine also makes a regular cow manure compost that we've also used. It was a little bit cheaper, depended what I was amending the soil for. And then my Harmony 543. So we did 2 buckets of that, 1 bucket of that, 1 bucket of the compost, and then I do maybe 2 to 4 cups of the Harmony 543 or whatever fertilizer you happen to be using. And then we do the handy dandy, here's my twirler. I have a shovel, and then I mix it by hand at this point. Some people are happy enough that they get a leftover, what do I want to say? Like the cement mixers, so that you can mix your soil. I guess it all just depends on what scale you're at. Oh, and my stuff is blowing away outside. So yesterday, Jim went and got compost. So this is from a local source here in Ivanhoe, Virginia. And I will tell you, it's really nice. It's pretty sifted. And so this will be the next wheelbarrow full, because I am out of compost. And it smells pretty yummy. There's a scent in there. I don't know if it's, I don't know, almost pine or something Christmassy. So we have 2 cubic yards that we got for $37 a scoop. Came to $75. So, you know, that's what we're gonna try to do this year. And so stay tuned. I'll turn this back around and we'll talk a minute about how I do my flats. Okay, thanks for watching. Teresa Allen, Peace and Harmony Farm. Okay, we're back to when I'm talking seedling trays. I will say that over the years as landscapers and as nursery folk, I buy in organic plugs of things that are woody. Like I don't do my own lavenders, I don't do sage. I buy those in from an organic source. I actually just got a delivery yesterday and I'll show you those here. So these are my 50 count trays. They give you 51. These are my 100 count trays. They give you 105, just in case something happens in the middle. These are my 72 counts. Right now we have peas in them and I'll show you those. They're starting to germinate. These are 50s. Those are my tomatoes and peppers for sure. You want a bigger root system before they go in, and they grow pretty fast. And they'll get started here. What's this, February 8th? Maybe a couple weeks, because I'm going to do an early crop in the tunnel. Trays we've always found we have leftovers. When I'm talking a 10 count, this is my 10 count. They are a 4.33 inch pot that fits in there, which works really easily for me to get to market because it's all standardized. 4 of those will fit on a shelf. I know how many I can get in my truck. These are our 8 count trays. These are really messy last year's elderberry cuttings, and these are going to get potted up and cleaned up here today if all goes as well as needed. So these are what came in last night. So this is my, let's see which one. This is catnip. So this is what I'm buying in. This is a plug. This is what I'm getting. Those will go in the 10 count trays. And to grow out, I've got, you know, till April when people start. The next one we did chocolate mint, only because I didn't get all of my cuttings done before the end of the year. I normally do propagate all my own cuttings for this is chocolate. This is mojito mint. You got to remember, I'm at Virginia Tech. Those kids they're all about making a mocktail. So mojito or cocktails. This is a mojito mint. This is my lemon balm. I did the hardiest ones for right now because I got another month of fluctuating weather, not knowing what's going to happen. And then so these are my peas. I do only sugar snaps. So I've got 10 trays. 10 72s, that's 720. That will be 1 row in the big 96-foot tunnel. I'll do a double row in a bed, and I will trellis those. These Sugar Ann runs about 2.5 to 3 feet. Then it's easy to pick. The pods are beautiful, and they're so sweet. And they're starting. You can see this one tray here is doing really good. I wish the rest of them would pay attention and follow along. But being warm in here today and wet, I'm hoping that we pop a lot more of those. And there's rosemary from the fall, again in a 10 count tray. So these will be what we sell in the springtime. And some strawberries left over from last year. These are all the perennials. They don't look quite as pretty. This is a strawberry mint. We just started carrying that last year. Again, kind of dormant. This is my tarragon. It is breaking, coming up. And I will tell you, even in the tunnels, this grows well all winter. And we're in Virginia. It's cold. I'm 6As. That's a good one. That's a quick thought. I'll come back and we'll talk about seeds. Thanks. Okay, we're back. I can watch me schlep. That compost that we bought, it's heavy, it's wet, so it's a little heavier than my normal compost. That's okay. We'll make that work. This is how quick we can make 1 full thing of wheelbarrow full, because I still want to get all those elderberries potted up so they get a chance before springtime, because everybody wants elderberry. I think seems to be the new key buzzword, you know. It's antiviral. It does help with allergies, colds, flu. So back to my little formula here. 1 bucket, 2 buckets, so when we were talking, I just took a quick video of my cell trays of how I start my seedlings. I do, it's best advised to bleach all of your trays from season to season. Know what kind of pathogens or have sat on there, and You want to make sure you get the best start, because sometimes you get one shot at doing seeds in the spring, and if you miss your window, sometimes you can't catch that up. So you always want to make sure you're starting at the best. You've got the best advantage. So get yourself a big, one guy, we went in his greenhouse, he had one of those big cattle tubs, black plastic just like that, filled with water and bleach. Everything got dumped in there. It sits for a certain amount of time. Lay them all out in the greenhouse so they're exposed to sunlight. Let them dry naturally. And then you can go ahead and fill it with your sterilized potting soil. So, 2 peat. There's already a compost in there. Now we'll do perlite. Some of the new potting mixes that we're looking into, if you're on the market and you are closer. Since we're in Virginia, Vermont compost costs a bit to get it down here, but I will tell you almost all the organic farms in this area use Vermont compost potting soil. There's different mixes for different things, from seedlings to potted mix. And in this area, because in Virginia they can now grow hemp and CBD, some of them are targeting specific mixes that are good for tunnel growing, that are good, already have a lot of fertilizers in there to give them a better head start. Don't breathe while you're doing that. No, I'm just kidding. But it does. Watch your dust. I can tell you at the end of the day when you blow your nose, all this stuff is in there. And again, we're going to put 2 scoops of my Harmony 543 into the bucket, grow barrel. So, and then I become, you know, one of those, who do I have in the house? A nice, lovely mixer. I'm the mixer. So, before I wet it, I get it as mixed as possible. Sometimes there's clumps, just break them up with my hand. So, this is how I spend my winter days. But it sure feels better than, let's see, I went to market the other day, it was 16 degrees. We never broke above freezing by the end of market at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So these days out here in the sunshine are great, very well appreciated. So, would it be nicer to open a bag and just fill from there? Yeah, it would. And we'll get to that stage. Maybe Jim will get a tractor this year. I don't know. We'll see. We never stop dreaming. The next thing we talked about yesterday was redoing this entire propagation house and getting a new greenhouse to do that with. Oh, look, we got a big chunky monkey in here. I don't need that. So then I wet my soil, especially before seeding. I don't put my seeds into a dry soil. I find they float and it's like, oh, that's not where I put you. And then I also water them in when I'm done. But today is basically transplanting. Like I said, tomato seedlings and some of the other annual crops are a couple weeks out, because I don't want to start too soon, because we at this moment don't have heat in here other than running an extension cord, and I have a couple of greenhouse heaters with a thermostat and a fan. But we hold off on that since it seems everybody's electric bills are going up now too, right? So, you know, I'm not high tech. I do what works for me. And everybody needs to find their space of what works for them. You know, what capacity do they want to grow? I've been a nursery girl since, wow, when did I first start selling plants? 1987, 80. I started selling plants. I had my first greenhouse in 90. So, yikes, 33 years ago. Can't imagine being without a greenhouse, or at least a propagation house. So that's my gig. That's what makes me happy. It's my happy place. So we're done. We're ready. It doesn't stick together. It's not too wet. I can feel enough moisture in there to get it started. That new compost is cold, but that's okay. It'll warm up in here, that's for sure. So on to the next step. So let's see. I needed one more tray. These are my 8 counts to put the elderberry cuttings in that we got from, this year we bought from River Hills Harvest. I have 100 of them in the refrigerator. He said if you weren't ready to plant, put your bag in the refrigerator. So they're down in my kitchen, in the basement. We have 3 refrigerators in that house, 2 freezers. And I'll bring them out, and there are 2 nodes, and we will plant. I've got 100 pots ready to go. I bought 100 wildwood because it was a variety that I did not have, and I wanted to expand the different varieties. And wildwood is one of the elderberries that is being used commercially, mostly in the Midwest, and River Hills Harvest uses that pretty exclusively. So, but I also bought Ranch and Pocahontas. I only bought 3 because I want to propagate those, and they were a little higher priced. So we'll grow them out for a year. Then I'll be able to take cuttings, and then I'll have more varieties to offer at different, you know, some are, the berry is juicier, the berry's bigger, it blooms later, it gets past the birds. So we have all different areas of elderberries growing. Some are European, some are the Canadensis, which is American, and then we're doing them by variety. There is what's behind the camera, and you can't see at this moment, I can turn around, was that mess of all these elderberry cuttings I took last year. These are 2 varieties, but I couldn't tell you which is which because that over the year tags, make sure that your tags are good because if they fade out and I didn't record it, or I didn't like put a colored tape on here, I don't know what variety these are. So they're either going to be York or Bob Gordon. These will all go together on the mountain when we plant them or sell them. I will just tell people, see, that's not even a good one. See, didn't get a root on it. I'll just tell people it's a Canadensis. So good with marking your stuff. So, okay, it's getting warm in here. Going to take a walk outside. Again, it's still Wednesday and it's sunny. Bye. Okay, we're back. Moved outside. A little warm in there today, but I ran inside and I got the 100 elderberry cuttings. These are wildwood. This is a beautiful way of packaging. They're all in the right direction. So if you get a cutting, you will see the top is going to be flat and the bottom where you are going to put in the soil is angled. So you always know which one is supposed to go in the soil. And right above this angled cut is a node. So this is where your roots are going to come from, and this is where your leaves are going to come from. And I will tell you, these are the longest cuttings and the nicest cuttings we've gotten in like the 4 years we've been buying. So I'm pretty thrilled with this, and I give some pretty awesome instructions. He also has elderberry school. So if you're looking to learn some of this, there's not enough elderberries being grown in the United States. They're almost all European. If you're buying like what I buy in, is almost all coming from Europe. They're all certified organic, but there's not enough farms in the United States. So River Hills Harvest is schooling people to start an elderberry farm. And so if that's something that works for you, give them a shout. I'll put some links in the bottom of the video when I'm done. In the past, I have taken all of these when they come in, and I put them in willow water because we're certified naturally grown, organic standards. There are not a lot of natural rooting hormones out there. So willow trees are a natural rooting hormone. So Jim would cut me some things from campus because we don't have a willow tree. And we would just put them in water, and you make willow water. And I would soak these for 24 hours. He didn't even say that in his instructions. He says to go and if your ground's not frozen, throw it in the ground. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not ready for that just yet. My beds aren't prepped over on the mountain. But we always start our cuttings in pots. So it's literally that easy of just taking it. Make sure you've got your angled cut down. Drop it in the middle of that pot. Firm it in. And once them outside, you got to do them in the cold. Some people will use a sand mix. That's great. Whatever you have on hand. I wanted these to be already in a pot that they're going to be sold in if I'm going to sell them, or there's going to be a great enough root ball so when I go to plant them on the mountain, and I'm going that way, 2.4 miles is our other 22 acres that we have the other farm on. So I want a good root ball when we get to that too. So it sometimes makes me feel like I should have soaked these a little bit. But it's going to rain the next 2 days, and they're going to be sitting over here in the nursery outside in the cold. In the past, I've also, those cuttings I showed you from last year that are in there, I would put them in the tunnel to start. And what he's saying is I generated a lot of top growth, and I didn't generate enough root growth because it was warm in there. So I'm following along with what he's saying. It's cool out here. It's going to get all of its energy down in the bottom. When it warms up in the spring, then I'm going to get my top growth. But what's most important right now is putting roots on these. So, you know, I could definitely soak them in water. I could definitely just put them in a sand bed, whatever works. Or if you're not certified organic or certified naturally grown, they make the powdered root hormone. They have all kinds of things that will aid the root growth. But I find and I hear and I know elderberries are so prolific that and these are such great, beautiful cuttings. I don't have a whole, I think it'll do just fine just doing that. So I'm gonna finish all these up and then I have to do a few things. Jim's gonna move some compost and dig some things up. So thanks for watching. Teresa Allen, Peace and Harmony Farm. Give me a like if you like it. And if you really want to talk about certified naturally grown, leave me a message. We'll get to that because I just had my inspection last week. So maybe it's new to getting all my stuff out there. You can look up my website on certified naturally grown. All farms are out there and you can search by state and see if there's someone near you. Okay, have a great day.